What's up guys, JK from MetaLab. Welcome to this video, and in this video I want to go through my 5 most common mistakes when it comes to fat loss. These aren't your average mistakes that you typically see. These are ones that I feel are massively overlooked, and not only are they overlooked, they're completely misunderstood, and I feel are so vital to the fat loss or the overall fat loss process that if they're not taken into account and thought about and kind of built into the whole strategy or your fat loss program, that you're not going to get where you want to be. And even if you do, sustaining the results and building upon them is going to be very, very difficult. So I don't want to waste time. Let's get into point number 1. And the first mistake that I see with fat loss is not understanding the strategy or the program. And this is vital. Now, 99% or almost 100% of the people that come to me or I speak to about whatever program they're on, but specifically fat loss, actually have no idea about the strategy, and they don't understand why they're doing certain things and how they're doing them. The person's just given the program, training, nutrition, whatever it is, and they just pretty much follow it step by step, and they actually are in the dark and don't understand what's going on and why they're doing X and Y and A and B and C and how it's reacting in their body. And this poses a massive issue, because not only are the chances now of you reaching your goal very, very slim, but if you do, or if there's hiccups along the way, you actually have no idea what you've been doing, and now how do you change it or adapt it to either keep progressing or to maintain and build upon. And it's a massive error and mistake that most people make. Number 1, they're taking for granted what they have been given. Question it, right? You need to actually know what's going on. And number 2, they're not becoming interested and invested in the process. And that's probably the biggest issue of it all. You know, they think it's just going to happen, and they don't have to put in effort to understand the foods they're eating and the exercise they're doing. And yeah, to a large degree, maybe you don't have to, and if you follow things perfectly, you will get the results you want. But it's a massive mistake not to want to understand it. And I promise you, if you understand it, you'll be able to take control of what you're doing and also enhance and accelerate your results. So that's point number 1. So now let's get into point or mistake number 2. So mistake number 2 is underestimating the time it's going to take for you to actually lose the fat that you want to or need to lose. Now, I know most people are saying, oh, you should lose 0.5 kilos of fat per week, and that's a healthy, maintainable rate of weight loss. And I'm not going to disagree, but more often than not, we're not going to get that exact rate of fat loss or weight loss. Sometimes it might be more, sometimes it might be less, but you've got to kind of plan for longer, because there are a lot of external factors that get in the way, and we're going to discuss these in another mistake. But that 0.5 kilos per week is just a guideline. You know, you've got to be so consistent and accurate for that to be an every week drop. And most people aren't consistent. I'm not 100% consistent every week, and we're not going to get that rate of weight loss ideally. That's what we want if everything goes perfectly. But shit happens outside of our training and nutrition, and it kind of distorts the rate of fat loss or weight loss. So underestimating how long it takes is naive, and it's a massive mistake, because most people nowadays are pushing an 8-week program or a 12-week transformation program, and those things are rigorous. Number 1, you're given the program and you're getting mistake number 1, where you're not understanding, and then they're distorting how long it should actually take to maintain. Can you achieve great progress in 12 weeks? 100% yes, but things have to be quite methodic, and there's a high level of commitment and dedication to the program, but it can be done. In most instances, we need to massage that and extend it. And guys, at the end of the day, this is change that should be long-term. It's a lifestyle change. So we also don't want it just to be thought of as 12-week, 90-day, 3-month, whatever it is. Just give yourself time. Don't underestimate. Don't put a specific time on it. Give yourself milestones and just keep going. Let your lifestyle transform and morph. Don't put pressure on yourself to be perfect every day. And you'll see gradually over time, not only will you start to love the process, because now you're going to understand it, but you're going to be realistic about the time frame, and it's going to start to morph into your lifestyle. So mistake number 2 is do not underestimate how long it takes. If you think it's going to take 12 weeks, I would say add an extra 8 weeks on top of that, because shit is going to happen. And also, if you give yourself more time, you can be more realistic with your day-to-day expectations and build on that and become a much better person and much better implementing the program over time. And I can guarantee you that you will achieve way better results, way better progress in a more extended period of time. So mistake number 3, and this is a very, very common one and is massively detrimental to any fat loss goal. And mistake number 3 is eating too little too soon, right? So from day one, making drastic change to your eating and your lifestyle and your exercise, and going from 0 to 1,000 kilometers per hour from day one. And this is a recipe for disaster, and it is so common because people, and I've mentioned it before, fall into that desperation cycle and literally become desperate for change, and they do things that are very extreme and drastic that are unsustainable in the short term because the change feels so uncomfortable and rapid, right? And it's a massive error. And will you lose weight or whatever it is in the first few weeks? Quickly, yes, but that's where it begins and ends, right? So it's a massive mistake to cut out a lot of foods, a lot of calories, jump onto massive training from day one. The goal of fat loss is to eat as much as possible whilst achieving the rate of fat loss you want. That is the goal, right? So you've got to start high, start at the maximum level for your body type and training and muscle mass and metabolic health to begin the fat loss process. And yes, maybe it will be slow and you gradually build into it, but initially you won't feel like you're on this crazy diet and your whole life now sucks because you've cut out everything you enjoy, and you kind of gradually step it down and put in different strategies and make it more enjoyable. So by putting all your eggs in one basket from day one, it's crazy, it's stupid, and chances are that you're not going to succeed. And if you do succeed with your fat loss, the day you reach the end of your challenge or goal, whatever it is, you ain't going to maintain it. You're going to hate the process. It's going to make you not want to train or eat healthy foods probably for the next year because it was so shit and disgusting and hard. And at the end of the day, even if you get your results, are you really? Because they short-lived and superficial, right? So the key is not to eat too little too early. You've got to plan and strategize and build a proper approach to your fat loss that you understand and can project and see how it's going to work, so that you can look at it and be like, oh wow, you know, if I follow this, I'm going to enjoy it and it doesn't look too hard and it's stretched over time, and I'm going to reach my goal and I can build up and grow from there and then really sustain the results you're going to achieve. So mistake number 3 is eating too little too early. So now let's get into mistake number 4. So mistake number 4 is training too much and doing too much cardio in order to reach your fat loss goal. Now, most people, when they jump onto the fat loss wagon and decide they want to get shredded or ripped or lean, whatever it is, start to rev up the cardio. For some reason, they start to do higher reps in their workouts and try to break more of a sweat. And this couldn't be more wrong if you want optimal fat loss and you want to look the best at the end of your fat loss, right? Do the exercise you enjoy by all means, but I'm talking about getting the best results here. The worst thing you can do is start to all of a sudden do more in the gym, right? Already you're putting your body under strain by eating less calories. Over time and over the fat loss process, your hormones are going to slow down, your metabolic rate's going to slow down, and you're putting strain on the body. Now on top of that, you're going to want to train more and put more strain and pressure on the body. Fat loss is a tender environment, right? Physiologically, the fat loss process, yes, is easier for the body to do than the muscle building or protein synthesis process where you're actually building new cells and new tissue in the body. It is easier, however, you need to maintain kind of an ideal internal and external environment for it to happen consistently. Now, by cutting out your food and upping the exercise, you're putting stress on the body and your body's going to resist burning fat. So you've got to use exercise just as another tool for fat loss. And the key with your exercise is you want to train in a way that optimizes muscle or lean body mass retention. Not only are you going to look so much better when the fat loss process is over, but you're going to maintain good metabolic health, and you're going to be able to build out of the process and maintain it a whole lot easier. So a massive mistake is going from training your normal sessions, how you would normally train to build muscle and strength, and then all of a sudden going and doing these high reps and trying to break a sweat and doing a bunch of cardio, right? That can be used as a tool for fat loss. Your training as a whole must be minimalistic, geared towards maintaining strength, right? Having high intensity in the workout, which means lifting heavy weights, not doing 1,000 reps and breaking a sweat. And cardio, again, the goal of fat loss is to get the best results by doing the least amount of work as possible, right? So start with no cardio whatsoever. And when you need it, instead of dropping calories or food and putting more strain on the body, you can add cardio, and that will give you the extra burn. You've got to be strategic. And again, this comes down to point number one, not understanding a plan, right? Having a proper plan, strategizing, understanding it. So the worst thing you can do is start to overtrain in fat loss. It's going to halt your progress. If anything, you need to cut back a little bit and be more strategic with your training and really think about how you want to look and how your body is responding. So that's mistake number 4. What was it? It's training too much and doing too much cardio when you're trying to lose fat. So we're going to get into the last and 5th mistake that I see and want to let you know about when it comes to fat loss. So mistake number 5, the final mistake. This is probably the most overlooked one and probably the most detrimental to one's fat loss progress, results, goals, whatever it may be. And common mistake number 5 is overlooking external influences when it comes to your fat loss journey or progress. What I mean by this is, guys, the nutrition and training part of a fat loss program is probably the easiest, right? It's in most people's mind, that's what's going to get them the results. The food they're eating, the exercise they're doing, and they just do that. It's the enjoyable stuff because it's yielding the results, or what we think is yielding the results. And in actuality, that's the simplest part of a fat loss process. I can take any individual and build an amazing strategy for them that if everything goes according to plan, they will get insane, massive results and become extremely lean and ripped and look awesome. But the biggest factor that one overlooks, and it's a massive mistake, is what is going on around them, not what's actually in their control, right? Things like work stress, life stress, social life, lack of sleep, kids, family, relationships, whatever it is, life happens. Life does not give a shit about your fat loss goals. And it's something that has to be incorporated into the plan and strategy, because things like stress and lack of sleep and work burnout, they have massive detrimental impact on how your body is going to burn fat. No matter how good you are with your training and exercise, those things can throw you off completely, right? And the stress just doesn't come from typical things like work and lack of sleep and maybe you're overtraining because your program is shit. It can come from things like social pressure, you know, friends nagging you, calling you a loser because you're not going out as much, and that can cause stress and pressure on yourself. And you know, going out and then drinking and having a pizza and all of that can throw you off, but it doesn't mean that you're fucking up and doing bad and you're not going to reach your goals. You've just got to understand that that's part of the process, right? It's not your job like it is mine to do the stuff and really make it an integral part of your life. And this goes back to point number 2 of underestimating the time it takes. These are the things that can lengthen the process, right? You're not going to go live in a cave and all you care about is exercise, eat, sleep, hydration, right? It's not like that. We've got jobs, we've got businesses, we've got families, we've got friends. This is something that we're adding into the mix. And all of that has to be brought into the program in order for it to be successful. So really don't overlook that. When you're thinking about going onto a fat loss program or strategy, think about where you're at in your life and what you've got going on and what you might have to sacrifice, what you're going to have to deal with. And if you preempt these things and figure out how you can fit them in and have certain refeed days and this and that and plan and program them into your calendar and into your strategy, your chances of success will skyrocket. It will almost go to 100% because you actually know what's going on, you understand the strategy and how it's going to mold and morph and fit into your lifestyle. And it's so overlooked. People just disregard it and they think, everything else in their life can just go on and they'll get the results if they just stick to the program. And it slowly starts to creep up onto their program and all shit fucking breaks loose and they binge for a few weeks and this and that, and it really hampers their results. So thinking about external influences in your lifestyle and what you're going on is probably one of the most important things and one of the biggest mistakes that people are doing by actually not taking it all into account. So by doing that and getting all of these 5 mistakes out the way and thought of will literally increase your chances of success when it comes to fat loss massively, and it won't feel like such a difficult process. So number 1 was not understanding the strategy or the program from the get-go. Hugely important. Please make an effort to question and understand you need to do work, you need to put in effort as well to increase your chances of success. Number 2, underestimating the time it takes. Guys, however long you think it's going to take, add weeks or months onto it, just know that it's going to take longer, right? You need to give your body time, shit's going to change, life's going to happen. Give yourself more time. Don't put pressure on yourself 8 weeks, 12 weeks. Fine, set those milestones, but if you reach them earlier or later, let it just take its course and you will get there. Don't put that massive pressure on yourself. So don't underestimate how long it's going to take. But 3 was eating too little too early. Massive mistake. Guys, don't just restrict yourself massively from day one. It's a recipe for disaster. Strategize, have a proper plan. Remember, the goal is to lose as much fat as possible whilst eating the most amount of food. Number 4 is training way too much, doing too much cardio and doing the wrong type of training when you want to lose fat. Again, like with the eating, you want to do as little as possible initially to lose the most amount of fat. You don't want to do massive amounts of cardio from day one and start training 6-7 days a week for 2 hours in the gym. You never even have to do that, right? Be strategic about your training and keep the training focused on strength and muscle and maximizing muscle retention. Then the 5th and final mistake is not taking into account external influences, and as we just mentioned, it's massively important. So guys, write these mistakes down. Next time you think of losing fat, make sure you go through all of them, check all the lists, and I promise you, your chances of success will be massively enhanced. So guys, if you have any questions regarding fat loss or any of the points raised, hit me up in the comments below, message me, I'm always online, I'm happy to chat, and let's get this fat loss happening. Peace.